Anthony from Snyder, Texas, hit me and said, what, in your opinion, does Billy Napier have to do to save the sinking ship, if he even can at this point? Recruiting is falling apart. His guys are leaving. He's not winning. This is harsh. This is a harsh characterization by Riley out of Snyder, Texas, but not totally unfounded, which I hate to say. But on the field this year, let's just do the math ourselves. On the field this past year, Florida looked ill-prepared at times. They were a poor executing team at times. They were undisciplined many times. And there were periods like Florida had, it was like a lake or a small ocean of miscues and lack of execution and poor preparation. And then there were little islands of execution kind of scattered about. It should be inverted. It should be you have little islands of poor performance in an otherwise sea of high-level performance. That's what I expected when they hired Napier, because that's who he is. Personally, that's who he is, which is always one of the troubling signs when you're trying to judge a program. In a perfect world, that coach takes his thumb and just presses it on his program, and his thumbprint is reflected in his program. Napier's not undisciplined. Look at his history. Napier's not a guy who doesn't have his you-know-what together, but yet Florida as a program did again this year too often. So that either means one of two things. It either means everything we thought we knew about Napier was wrong, which I don't buy, or it means whatever it takes to instill yourself and infuse yourself in your program hasn't happened with him quite yet. And there are a lot of theories around the Florida program that maybe he's got too much on his plate and maybe different staff moves need to be made. I happen to ascribe to those theories, and maybe in short order they'll be done down there. But that's on the field. 1 month ago, off the field, here's where the troubling signs for the future are. 1 month ago, off the field in the recruiting world, Florida had the number 3 class. And then within a week, they had 3 fairly high-profile decommitments. They have several players still right now on flip watch. Their number 3 and number 4 commits, it feels like, are pretty up in the air. Now, I'm old enough to know that we've looked at Napier in Florida before and said, uh-oh. And then just like that, they've been on fire, and he's tweeting out the sunglass emoji, smiley face. And so that could happen with Florida again. So I say this with a lot of trepidation in my voice. This is strictly a here and now momentary sort of thing, but it's reality in the here and now. I mean, you'd have to be a fool if you took a pulse of the Florida fan base to not notice this is how they're feeling about it too. And thirdly, all this is overlapping with them missing out on a bowl game. And then you got that along with the recruiting class being shaky, and you got players portaling out of there. And you can't blame folks if they look around and say, like, what am I supposed to feel good about right now? I can't immediately give it to you. I know things change. And I know sometimes positive momentum starts to build inside an organization and a program long before the public can see it. So, I hope, trust me, I mean this, I hope that there are things that staff knows, or Billy Napier himself knows, are coming that we will know about in due time. But if that's not happening, and it's just kind of a day-to-day, let's take it as it comes at us, let's hope tomorrow is brighter than the previous day, that's not a good thing, man. Not a good thing, because, Jesse, out of curiosity, do we have their schedule, or has it not been totally finalized? Okay, here it is. Here's the bad news. Next year, they essentially play in the NFC South. I mean, their schedule is insane. And so there's not going to be any time to sort of learn on the fly. Like I've told you for a while, I think Billy Napier's future was not tied to this past year, as bad as it looked on the field. I thought it was tied to the 2024 season and the 2024 recruiting class. Well, if the 2024 recruiting class, which once upon a time was top 3, starts losing layers, and then the 2024 season is not any better in the win-loss column, I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist or be a college football historian to know what the future probably holds there. So, things could change. I will admit that. I'm always a little more optimistic. I probably don't do the kind of show that you enjoy if you love to see the more negative spin placed on this stuff. I don't do many hot seat charts, but I have concerns. Let me just leave it at that. I have concerns.